we have seen him have some decent performances when it comes towards things that are a little bit more off-meta, I'll say, like the Akali and that, where he's looked great, but we'll have to see as we get ourselves on into draft.
Straight on in Game 1 of this best of 3 Fearless, Mundo, Kalista and Maokai banned away by GIANTX, Gwen, Varus and Rumble removed by G2. Yone is the first pick.
Yeah, Yone, very, very strong, but also you kind of want to go for some sort of AP jungler, especially now that you got Gwen and Rumble taken away. It means that you're limited in the AP champions who can play on that top side of the map. So curious to see what Isma wants to bring out. Could be his Nidalee, which he has regularly brought out, and it's not something that has been banned away.
It rounds out to a relatively nice poke comp if perhaps you want the Jace or you want the Ezreal alongside that for some of that range damage. Varus taken away as one of the other poke AD carries that we often look towards. Aurora the answer for G2. If that Yone is going towards the top side, wouldn't be surprised to see the Aurora matched into it. Xin Zhao, the jungler for SkewMond, something that gives you good early aggression, great in skirmishes, which is nice into the Nidalee, but also gives you that big crescent guard as the game goes on for damage reduction in the middle of fights.
Yeah, I think just the early skirmishing power with both the Aurora and the Xin Zhao is insane, because Aurora with Electrocute does a ton of damage in the early stages, plus then the dueling power and the setup from the slow for the Aurora for the Xin Zhao just works out incredibly well. Looks like Sejuani going to be on the cards here for GIANTX, which is kind of a... I think they saw the Nidalee hover. I think when you have a Xin Zhao on the other side, trying to play Nidalee can be a little bit tough. So going back towards, hey, let's just try and get 2 melee solo laners, and we can try and play through a strong top side of the map into this Xin Zhao instead.
That makes a lot of sense. It looks like they're going towards support right now. It could just be Jackie's hovering Nami as a little holding hover, because AD carry would make a lot more sense. There is the Misfortune locked in for them, so they have a good front line. They've got non-committal engage. They have a lot of damage from their AD carry if you can get that bullet time off appropriately. Where are G2 going to look to try and punish GIANTX? MF, very low mobility. You do have the possibility of finding someone that can dive on her alongside the Xin and the Aurora. The Kai'Sa always springs to mind when you're looking for an AD carry that wants to go in. Yeah,
it looks like it will just be the Ezreal though. I think the MF was kind of an answer because it's very good into things like the Draven, which if you go towards an Ezreal or you go towards an early Kai'Sa, it can set you up. So I think it's kind of like we solidify ourselves a strong lane in the bot side for GIANTX and limit the pool that G2 can go to. So G2 just said, cool, we're just going to take an easy bot lane. We're not going to play too aggressive, and more than likely look for these 4.5-minute rotations that G2 have kind of been prioritizing when they're in these more difficult or unsafe matchups for Hansan.
Has gone really well for them in most games. They've been about 1,400 gold on average ahead through the early game, but now we'll see where both these teams want to go in their second rotation. Poppy and Gragas bans. I wonder, do you want to get rid of Braum if you're GIANTX? Just to make sure that you can't have someone absorbing that Glacial Prison all the time?
I don't think it's a bad shout. I think, yeah, just it's absorbing that plus whatever other pressure you're going to be bringing down. And even if you end up going like significantly melee heavy, Braum just gets a ton of value in those comps as well, because you get to auto attack people and set up for a lot of these stuns. So G2 actually going to be the ones that ban it away though. So maybe a little bit nervous that Sejuani was enough engage. I feel like with this comp you probably want a little bit more, but we'll have to see what the plan is.
It's also the double stacking stuns, right? Concussive blows and the permafrost coming out from the Sejuani can lock you up for a very long time in the middle of a fight. So G2 avoiding some of that extra CC. Sion the final ban from them, from GIANTX. It kind of implying that G2 might take this Aurora into the mid lane rather than just playing it in top, which is kind of my expectation for Broken Blade.
Yeah, I'm curious if you just take Rel for Labrov here and say, look, we're happy enough, we denied. Okay, actually, okay, so going to take the other side and say, my thought was take the Rel away from the Misfortune engage, from the follow-up engage, and being able to set that up. They're basically G2 saying, well, we'll just take the Alistar. We're happy enough if you want to go for the Rel, if you want to go for Yone or any of these picks, because Alistar still does relatively well. And in general, we just want to be playing a passive lane that plays defensively anyways.
Yeah, just move around the map, get away from that MF plus whatever on the bot side. Looks like it might be Neeko.
It can be special.
Yeah, Neeko for Jun makes a lot of sense. You can also take it into the mid lane if you really want for Jackie's, but it looks like that Yone is going to be flexed towards mid, and GIANTX going towards top for their final pick. We'll have to be blind, assuming that Aurora goes to mid, but there's still a bit of flexibility in both of these drafts.
Yeah, I'm curious what BB wants to try and answer with here. There's the Renekton that could, you kind of just say, hey, we're going to try and play for the early win and then look to outscale. But I think you're kind of hitting a mid-game spike, so I wouldn't be surprised by something like a Gnar here, just to say, look, we can control the lane and then off of 1 to 2 items, really try and take over and power through this game.
We'll see where he decides to go. Has been consistent for G2 across the course of Spring Split. Last week did have a little bit of a struggle. Ooh, okay. Okay, Malphite is the lock. So, I understand it. Predominantly physical damage coming out from GIANTX. That Neeko is going to be support, so really only 1.5 items with the, oh, what's it called? Zax. I keep wanting to call it ZZ Top, and that was a hand. So no, with the Zax. Expectations are obviously that Jun will flex to mid lane. The Yone will flex to mid lane here, and Jun will take that Neeko. I think they have swapped in the lobby. We just haven't had it update on the screen, and now it has for us. So
yeah, I was like, there is always some bookiness you can go for with like Neeko going mid or Jax going jungle, which was like an old school counter to Zinzel, but I think we're just going to see the bog standard.
Yeah.
But anyway, I think it does force Jax into a very AP heavy build, which I think he'll be able to survive fine with in the lane matchup. So I don't think it'll be as strong, again, the individual matchup, but when you look at a lot of the carries that are there, they're actually pretty immobile. Like, the MF is going to struggle. You've got good re-engage if Neeko ever tries to go in with the Malphite. So it does make quite a bit of sense in that regard for playing for the bottom half of the map. And it does just say, look, more than likely what we're going to see from G2 are these 4.5-minute lane swaps where Malphite's going to be fine, farming underneath the tower. There's going to be no real issues. And in that position, you should be totally okay.
You should. We do have a small pause as we get on into the game. So should be fine in a moment. Assume the players maybe have a setting that's incorrect or like in their face, or someone spilled water again on the stage. You know how it be.
Yeah, look, as long as we're not VC team, okay?
Didn't need to do him like that, man, okay? The problem is, it's only the two of us in the studio.
Yeah,
so if we do have to podcast, it's going to be you and me talking for a couple of hours, which is, maybe we can get some of our producers up here to chat with us.
True. Yeah. And also, they can, like, put anything that they want on the video behind us. So we can just become, like, what does he stick up, what's the game where you're running past the trains? I can't think of it.
Oh, I wanted to say Crazy Taxi, but it's not. Taxi Surfer? Subway Surfer.
Subway Surfer, yeah. We stick Subway Surfer on the screen behind us.
Yep.
And then we just chat for a little bit and we keep everyone entertained with the Subway Surfers and no one really listens.
It's true. We need to find some things that look cool when you cut them. You know, like sand or something like that. I think that little circle game at the bottom where it's balls bouncing around. It's GIANTX who've said there's maybe some potential audio issues on the stage. So let's go back to these drafts. We're talking a little bit about how the Malphite gives counter-engage for G2. They have relatively strong early skirmishing as well, but it does feel a lot like G2 are going to try and avoid conventional lanes after that 3-4 minute mark.
Yeah, I think that's your best bet. There's a style of these lane swaps that I think is probably how you operate this as G2. When you're in a position where you're behind in the laning phase and you're the ones that are getting pushed in, you'll tend to push in bot lane, reset with your bot lane, and then instead of actually having your top laner reset, you use this TP to immediately go bot lane and forego the reset. And the thought process behind it is, well, it doesn't really matter if I get a reset or not. This lane matchup is going to suck. So all we're doing instead is using that tempo advantage to make sure all waves are caught at all points in time. And that's how you can hard force this swap. And then it becomes a case of, okay, well, how are GIANTX going to try and respond to that? Because the obvious one is to try and then use your own top laner's TP to immediately go bot. But oftentimes, because you're the team with the tempo lead, you've already shifted your bot lane into that bot position. So it means you can't keep up. And then it's just constant rotation around the map where you never get the matchups that you really want to. And I mean, a Malphite with less gold is going to be way more impactful than a Jax with less gold. Yeah,
that's very true. I do see ready checks have happened. And I think we're going to get onto Summoner's Rift. So here we go. Summoner's Rift in sunny Madrid for these two teams. Both of them will play 2 series over the weekend. Today we see G2 taking on GIANTX. Tomorrow we see GIANTX taking on MKOI and G2 taking on Fnatic in what is likely to be a battle between at least 2 of the best, if not the 2 best teams in the LEC right now.
Nothing too crazy happening in the minute. Everyone just kind of span out and see if they can catch everyone as they start to rotate themselves through the map. But yeah, again, I think for GIANTX, you have a composition that very much can pop off inside lanes if you can get the ball rolling in your favor. But team fighting, I think, a little bit less attractive to you just based on what G2 have brought to the table.
Yeah, I think I understand that. Generally, it looks like GIANTX might be going for a little bit of a late invade. Isma, Jackies, and Jun here to force SkewMond out of his jungle. Just get a ward down on his red, and then they can back off immediately after. So nothing too crazy, just want to make sure they know where SkewMond is starting, want to make sure they know his path through the jungle. He's going to go down towards his bottom side, but GIANTX will still know that he started on the bot side because he's not seen on that red buff.
Varied information is a beautiful thing.
But you know what assuming does?
Leads to scientific debate and finding out new things.
Exactly right, Rob. Exactly right. Jun transforming into the MF here just gives him a little bit more range in the lane. Labrov doing... It's like a strategy I've seen a couple of times on Alistar recently, where as soon as someone tries to walk up as the AD carry and farm a minion, you just W them away. On repeat. Every time. And it just tilts the enemy. You can see he was trying to do it to Noah there, but he didn't know which one was Noah because they were both MF. So he just yeeted away Jun. You just do it on repeat.
So that was a Jun outplayed in Champ Select, basically realizing, hey, Alistar's going to go for this.
Also by picking to be the misfortune as he walked down into the lane, because he could have been the Yone. Or he could have been the Sejuani, right? But you don't know.
I feel like as default as Neeko, I take the one person with range on my team so I can poke.
I 100% agree with you, but as you say, just Jun mind games. Jun mind games. Absolute genius.
Still though, I do think you're in just a decent spot here as GIANTX on the bot side. Like, I feel like all you're going to do is make life miserable for Labrov, so at least he gets one back with the headbutt, and then it's just like, I'll go back to my corner and sulk as I get poked and prodded. At least level 2 hit, so you can try and trade back. But if you ever... Sorry, not trade back, but like look for a trade. But even if you mess it up, it's just going to be a bad time. Caps, though?
Isma looking for Caps in the mid lane. Caps should be able to jump this wall. Has to flash it. Permafrost comes in as well. Jackie's with the Q3. Will chunk about half of Caps' health bar. Good gank path from Isma. Went 4 camps into gank. Yeah,
there was a ward there. Must not. I didn't catch it quite.
I think he snuck just around the corner.
Snuck around the corner of it. So nice job by Isma not to get caught, and now moving back in towards the spread. But this is what we're talking about, is like kind of Caps being the punching bag for teams in a lot of situations. It's just trying to even just get that one gank mid. Now you're half HP. Jackie's going to have a much easier time. Both pots burnt by Caps as well. Like, this just gives a ton of resources and effective trading power to Jackies.
And they talked about it on the analyst desk before the show. Like, GIANTX's early game has not been the major issue. They've had some good plays. They've had these 4-man invade timings, and it's worked well for them. It's just the consistency as it gets to later portions in the game, and sometimes the consistency in the early game as well, has really let them down. G2 tend to be more consistent. That's one of the reasons they are so consistently at the top of the league. And although last week against BDS was a blip for them, the question is it an actual speed bump, or was it just a dot on the radar?
Yeah, and I think that's kind of what we're looking for them to prove here. And I think it's, again, going to be a case of, are we going to see that map movement from the mid game show up in the early game as well? Because in this sort of position, this is kind of the... Oh, Labrov.
Yeah, he's looking for it. Jun had to flash away. Hans Summer going forward onto Jun, who's popped the heal. Ignite ticking. Labrov flashes out, but Hans Summer gets first blood. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, there's a kill happening in the mid lane as Isma falls and Caps goes down as well. It's a little bit difficult to see exactly what happened there. Looks like it was a... just a jungle mid fight in mid?
Yeah, it looks like it. I mean, bot side, nicely done, at least by Hans Sama. Had the level 4, so was able to go for it and take that effective trade before Noah ticked over to level 4. And Labrov ends up going down, but didn't quite catch what happened in the mid lane, so we'll have to wait and see.
I think it was just a 2v2 skirmish that ended up going 1-for-1. Isma actually looking for the dive here onto Caps.
Nice. Okay, so yeah, I think Isma just needed to use the E, so then you could actually lock him in place, so then it was easier for Jax to finish him off. Even getting that increased damage as well would have finished off. He didn't have to tank as many tower shots, but not wanting to go as far underneath the tower meant that, well, he ends up getting caught, and it is going to be the kill that's picked up by SkewMond in the end, but no assist onto Caps, crucially. Yeah, unfortunate for Caps there to not pick up the assist, but a lead in bot and jungle for G2. Jun trying to see if he could gank mid lane, but unable to do it. Labrov's coming across.
And looks like they're just trying to help Caps get this massive wave underneath the tower for now. There was the swap that we talked about, Rob. You can see Hans Summer going towards the top side. Noah's going to answer both the teleports used by the top laners to meet those waves in bot. So a grub fight perhaps on the cards.
Yeah, so this is kind of what we're talking about, is what G2 like to do, but GIANTX at least look prepared for it. They're now moving into position to try and match that, and should be able to try and keep up pressure. But honestly, that early 2v2 working out great for G2, because now you've got that Sheen and Tier, which is kind of that crucial back position for Hans Sama, and he should be fine now to just look for these poke trades before you get to that BT versus Noah.
Oh, between worlds, Jackie has to dash out of that. Ultimate for ultimate exchanged, and I wonder if because of that and Jackie's low health bar, whether GIANTX will call off the fight around these grubs. Noah, about halfway to level 6, does have both the summoners, but you can see as soon as Jackie's is that low HP and doesn't have an ultimate, GIANTX know they can't fight that.
No, they're completely going to back away, but I think at this stage, like, for G2, you're happy with the way this game's going. Like, even you're pushing Jackie's back, you're getting the kills that you need, you're now in a position that you're getting the objectives as well. You could probably even get the push up in this top side, transition down towards getting that first dragon in this point as well. So, like, overall, I think you're perfectly fine here.
Should be pretty happy with how things are going so far. SkewMond's on his way up towards topside. There's a blue buff available to G2 if they want to fight around it. But I think they're going to decide that may not be the best course of action. Labrov goes in again. There's a true shot barrage hitting onto Jun. Ignite ticking. Noah opened up, but wasn't able to get the bullet time down because he's still only level 5. And G2 will just chunk out Jun and Noah.
Yeah, and they're going to continue to push you here. So you can kind of see Zhao starting to push through. See if he can get on towards Isma here. Isma's still level 5.
Yeah, SkewMond coming in with that level 6. He's going to chase Isma out of the jungle. Jackie's having to dash back in the mid lane. And, oh, Labrov, Hex Flash. Won't find anything. They'll take the blue, and they will walk out.
Yeah, I do love those moments when you're playing Alistar and you like the bull that's scruffing the ground. You're like, oh, I'm gonna go, and then you're just like, no, actually, I'm backing out. I don't want this. So, but still, I mean, G2 getting the pressure again on towards Isma, preventing him hit to level 6, and now they're going to get the shove in this top side as well. And Dragon is still on the bot lane, so I think, as you can see, G2 going to look for the reset, and I wouldn't be surprised now if they're in a position to just go for the objective.
An important thing with resets like this is Noah and Jackie's were low HP, so they had to back away, right? They're going to lose 2.5 waves of minions to the top tower because Broken Blade got the shove in bot, Hansama and Labrov got the shove in the top side. Noah and Jun, when they reset, went bot and were able to catch that wave, but you can see how late Lot is to getting his reset off to come top. So it's when you do swaps like this and when you're trying to play around tempo, that magical watchword in League of Legends, these are the things you've got to look for because a wave is, 300, 400 worth of gold and experience.
Yeah, and that's why you can see if you look at Hansama, the little purple bar under Ezreal's portrait in the side, thank you very much, you'll see that is significantly larger than where Noah's was, and now Noah, well, as long as Hansama there goes to collect the wave, that experience lead is going to open up, less so in the top side, but you are seeing these little moments of G2's bot lane getting ahead, and this is what we're talking about. This is something that G2 do extremely well, is focusing on getting Hansama these early leads, but we're going to have to see if they can try and play for that early lead as the blue buff is stolen by Isma here.
Isma should be able to take this one away, smites it. SkewMond was coming across. Jackie's has the push in mid, so he's the first to move here. SkewMond able to get away from that permafrost, but there's a Gromp that the prize will be for GIANTX. While they do this though, Caps is able to push out mid, so we'll see if Jackie's can get there to catch that wave, because otherwise he's kind of sacked at least 2 or 3 minions. That big bot wave as well that Noah and Jun have to come across for. Yeah, it loses 2 minions.
Yeah, I'm also watching SkewMond because he was hovering around this bottom side in case Isma came into the bot lane once more, but now you've got the push, and I imagine Dragon's going to be next because Caps just reset as well in the mid lane. He's now going to be coming back, so I think he should be in a decent spot unless SkewMond feels like he needs to pop his head in mid just to guarantee that push.
Do you think there'll be warriors as the Dragon? Because you imagine dragons.
Oh, yeah.
SkewMond looking for Jackie's alongside Caps, just chunks him out a little bit. Look, man, we're in the Euphoria set. You're getting the jokes that you get today, okay?
I'll accept them. Sorry.
I forgot the lead singer's name. I couldn't remember it.
I'm not going to lie. I blanked on every other song by Imagine Dragons as soon as you said it. I was like,
Radioactive? That's one.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, it's not even a chem Drake, so what the hell am I supposed to do with this?
Exactly. There's probably something to do with mountains. The teleport comes in behind G2 here. They're looking to take the Drake. They'll get it. Glacier Prison onto SkewMond. He pops the Crescent Guard. Great flash into the bullet time, but not really too much damage on the backline of G2, and they're going to re-engage. Caps goes forward, dashes out to the other side. Jackie's and Jun here as well. Broken Blade trying to flank himself with a TP. Labrov able to get away towards the bottom side. Broken Blade has that unstoppable force. Labrov the first to fall. Flash forward from Lottie to get the stun on BB, who flashes to the wall and then unstoppable forces across. And will manage to escape. G2 sacrificed their cow for a dragon.
Yeah, there's a great flash by Noah just in the back half of that fight, managing to get away from Labrov's re-engage, which then sets up for the kill, but a little bit messy from G2. Like, they don't really have a major engage to apart from Labrov and BB, but BB needed time to TP down to the bottom side. Even Caps looking to reposition halfway through this fight to join with BB, but we'll see here, like, you're not really in a great spot as this engage comes through, because Jun gets the big engage, but you've only got Broken Blade now TPing down. He's a mile away from this fight, and as you go in, watch the follow-up here as Caps repositions the bottom side, but this just means he's kind of separated from everyone, and as you get this re-engage coming through from Labrov on towards Noah, hoping maybe he can set up a Broken Blade, Noah managing to flash away, sets up for loss, but everyone just so separated on G2 because Caps was trying to regroup with Broken Blade, and they were just all over the place.
Immediately off that GIANTX will start up the Void Grubs. They'll get to Labrov trying to use Isma as a taxi to get out. SkewMond gets in to steal away a Grub though, and that means he'll have Mike spawning. Lot coming across. Labrov stopped in the middle of the blast cone, and Lot gifted the kill. 3-2 now in favor of GIANTX. Caps just taking plates in the mid lane while all of this happens.
Yeah, they're trying to get the plate mid and also the plates in bot lane as well. You can see Broken Blade work his way through it, but Malphite not exactly renowned for his turret taking ability, so I think the fact that you are now getting the plays on top side, and it looks like going to get some plates on the top half of the map as well for GIANTX, like, they're significantly happier where this one's going. May even catch on Sama here.
Glacier Prison hits, he cleanses and flashes away from Jun. Didn't want to get caught in that pop blossom. It will be a plate over to GIANTX. They are losing plates on the bot side, and SkewMond looking for the dive here onto Lot. That tower very low. We'll be able to take it. Lot pops the Grandmaster's Might. SkewMond goes in, but a leap strike out is enough for Lot to escape his clutches.
So you can kind of see a lot of the gold has shifted over the course of the last few minutes, right? Like, what was a pretty substantial gold lead for Hansam, about 350, has now been limited to a certain extent. And also you're seeing that shift in Lot getting a lot more gold. Or sorry, in Broken Blade getting a lot more gold over Lot. So I think you're kind of now looking at, can you see Noah carry this game from the positions in? He's actually going for the Infinity Edge first rather than the Bloodthirster, which will give him significantly more DPS in a team fight, which feels where GIANTX is trying to play for. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, still decided to go for the Bloodthirster, but was on his way to what could have been an Infinity Edge.
I forgot it changed. Yeah,
it did, yeah. It's one of those, like, every now and again they'll change an item, and then 3 years later I realize they changed the item.
Yeah.
Just because, you, like, often you don't see the little parts of the item being built. It's like, oh, he's got a BF sword that builds into 7 different things, you know?
It's also just in my brain for so many years, it has just been, well, if I get the pickaxe and the BF sword,
it's like,
then
obviously
I'm going,
it's Infinity
Yes,
Edge,
exactly.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. Jackie's not able to do too much damage to Broken Blade yet. Doesn't have that Blade of the Ruin King, and Broken Blade went Frozen Heart first alongside the Barmy Cinder he picked up to help him clear out some waves. Isma trying to flank SkewMond. Labrov, the one who's caught out first, though, as Lot jumps in. Isma dives forward onto SkewMond, has that permafrost, will get the stun. Jun coming in from the side alongside Jackie's as well, and this is kind of the GIANTX that we know and love. Those 3-4-man invades where everyone begins to collapse. The problem is, your side waves are getting shoved in. You're losing gold on the rest of the map. Lot's going to lose about 2 or 3 minions again. Broken Blade has a tower to get to here and has the unstoppable force it required. So he shouldn't die. If he does, because he didn't use the ult properly, and he manages to escape.
Yeah, again, though, like, you're seeing all these tools used by GIANTX to try and make this play and force it on the top side of the map, but you're not really getting anything first. You're even getting the rotation from both Caps and Labrov now to be able to cover that top half of the map, so it's what you're alluding to, the side waves being so much heavier in G2's favor is netting them a bit of an advantage here as
Broken Blade's just fighting. True Shot Rush coming out as well. Jackie's might have to use the Fate Sealed to escape because Caps is on the flank underneath the tower. Jackie's down to 300 HP. Caps jumps in. Soul Unbound from Jackie's is perfect. Caps will take him, but he'll fall for it. I think that's all that Jackies could have got out of that.
That was the best Jackies could have hoped for, especially as I thought Caps would just defend Jackies trying to get out and then wait for that wave to crash. But you go 1 for 1 in the trade, you don't lose too much on the waves either, so you should be all right. Although actually there's another wave about to crash in, and it looks like Lot not going to move up that way. He's going to just look for the tower bot instead.
Yeah, I think the G2 have kind of given up the bot side a little bit here, knowing that they didn't have people in their own bot side jungle or vision. GIANTX could gain control of that whole area. I was wondering if BB would teleport down to this tower to make sure it survived, but he was at risk of a 4-man tower dive if he did that, and even Malphite isn't tanky enough to survive that. So it will be Drake and a tower over to GIANTX. Gold lead about 700 in G2's favor right now, but they will be able to pick up this Rift Herald, and using that will hope to break through with the tier 1 in mid.
They will need to TP Broken Blade back to the top side though if they want to try and make this fight happen.
Is the eye open? It's not. Isma could steal this. Glacial Prison, there's the eye, taken away by Noah. SkewMond diving onto Isma, Labrov coming in from the side as well. SkewMond doesn't really have anywhere to get out of this one. Might have to flash out of the back of the pit. Broken Blade flashing forward. Jun flashes over the True Shot barrage, manages to get the 2-man stun, and SkewMond's killed off Jun now. SkewMond so low, Sunder Sky healing, absolutely massive, but he's shut down by Lot. The flash out from Labrov as Broken Blade opens up onto Noah, who still has the barrier, and Broken Blade is CC'd to high heaven. Broken Blade falls, GIANTX pick up a 2 for 1.
Great call from GIANTX. Maybe even, oh, there's no soul bound, so Cap should just walk away, but great re-engage by GIANTX. They went, hang on, Broken Blade has just gone and reset from topside. He had 0 mana, cannot stick around for this fight. So as he goes to the reset, GIANTX like, great, we can try and come in onto this play. TP from Lot, who would also just reset. But you're then forcing G2 to collapse, whereas GIANTX, they're already in a position for this. Set up perfectly, and G2 routed in the pit, and Sama isn't really in a position to do the damage that he needs to, especially as Lot starts to reposition on him. Noah is being jumped on by Broken Blade, but it's not doing a huge amount, and Jackies and Isma are just having a field day in the pit. Like, when you get these isolated skirmishes with the Sejuani and the melee champions, it works out so well.
And it does. Rift Herald used by GIANTX immediately afterwards. Lot jumping onto SkewMond. Labrov there for the knockup. Bullet time onto SkewMond as well. As GIANTX are now 7-4 up. Jackies wants a piece of the action as he CC's Caps, and Caps just about glides away with the Between Worlds.
Still though, this GIANTX playing so well in this mid game. They've managed to get over towards the Rift Herald, make that big play. Now they're catching out members of G2 underneath their own towers, and in the 1v1, Jackies is coming out on top of Caps as well. This is fantastic.
It really is. Incredible stuff all round by GIANTX. Lot at the forefront of a lot of it as well. 4-0-1 on this Jax, having an absolute field day. As we see BB like struggling to have as much of an impact on the Malphite as he'd like.
Yeah, and I think that is kind of to half be expected. Like, the Malphite was a pick into, hey, there's a lot of AD on the other side and we can try and play in towards that, but the early moments when Lot has been able to move into positions to like get free access to bot side tower, get a ton of gold that way, now cleaning up a lot of these fights as well. You're not really hitting their stride as G2. We kind of talked about that 1.5 to 2 items is where they come aligned. That's kind of now, but they've already lost out on a bunch of those early fights thanks to the way GX have set them up and had that TP advantage coming into those fights.
So with a 2,500 gold lead at 19 minutes, with a Drake apiece and with a very fed Jax, can GIANTX close out the game from here?
I think the thing about this game is that it is... Oh, hang on. Oh, Jackie's all right. But it's the exact opposite of how GIANTX have traditionally won their games, which is trying to play through side lanes. Lot's now in a position where he's pushing in on bottom side. Jackie's is filtering in with a lot of the plays GIANTX are making on this top side jungle, but you still have to try and address your waves and try and outplay G2 on the map, and I think that's going to be a pretty sizable difficulty for GIANTX, because you can even see here, Lot doesn't feel comfortable trying to move down to threaten that tier 2 tower, now starting to rotate up, but even if you find a fight here against G2, it's already going to be taken away further into that top side away from Lot, so it looks like they're a bit unsure how they want to try and address things right now.
Understandably slow. So Lot has had some struggles this split, right? These are some really cool radar graphics that Hayden made up for us. We saw them first on the LPL Molecule, so yeah. You can see BB, top of the table in basically everything. His damage per gold lacks a little bit, but the red circle is where BB is, and then the blue circle, which is very small, is where Lot is. Yeah, it's a
that's crying.
it's a tier 4 triangle. Lot has struggled in spring. but in this game, he is in prime position to carry on the Jax, one of his favorite champions. 2 items already complete. BB now does have the Hollow Radiance, so he's in an okay spot as well, but with a 1.2k gold lead on just the top laners, like, Lot is primed and ready to take the GIANTX to a victory.
Yeah, again, though, we're seeing a big wave lost here on the top side, and this is kind of the small mistakes that GIANTX are slipping through. You have both Jackies and Lost with TP, but not using them for... I understand the Dragons in a few moments' time, but you can still have someone collect that wave. Caps just pushed that wave and is now here to take the fight. So you're just kind of losing out on small bits of gold here and there for GIANTX, but can they take the big fight?
One of the things we praise GIANTX for doing is grouping and pushing into the jungle together here, but as you say, it always comes at quite a large cost. G2
Lot, that's not
up in the mid lane. Lot is going to teleport in here, can immediately counter-strike if needed, and will do so. It takes half his health for it. The dragon goes down. Jackies is the one to secure it for GIANTX. Second dragon of the game, Glacial Prisoner hitting onto Broken Blade, not the target you want. Hansama able to jump away from Lot. Jackies will pull his soul back into his body and retreat from the fight. Good slow from the Make It Rain. But GIANTX aren't going to find too much more here. G2 still grouped up as 5, looking to push through for this mid lane tier 1.
Yeah, GIANTX did manage to get the dragon, so they're just trying to reforce entry in towards the mid lane tower. G2 trying to play for that. But if GX overextend here, it could be out of cash.
Jun! 3-man knockup with the Pop Blossom! Fate sealed, follow up, and Broken Blade has to ult away. Caps already dead, didn't have time to react with a flash of his own. An incredible engage from Jun. Doesn't get GIANTX too much, apart from saving their mid lane tower.
Man, Jun's Neeko engages have been sick. He's one of the few people that are still bringing this out. Like, it's his, well, Labrov has, but 4 times now it has been a consistent factor for GIANTX, and Jun has just performed every single time, and now G2 kind of feeling the brunt of that, as that could have been the moment G2 start to take over control of the game, getting that mid lane tower, starting to get some of these side lanes under control. But GIANTX now onto Adakan off the back of that fight.
Able to go down towards this bottom side, secure the Adakan for themselves. You can see SkewMond all the way on the top side of the map, just farming up his Krugs, trying to get as much gold into his pockets as possible. But there's the Adakan, there are the Roses as well. Didn't quite see how many GIANTX were able to pick up. Does give you, of course, that buff to your neutrals. The 2 Void Grubs and the 2 Drakes will be buffed up for GIANTX, and any more neutrals they get for the rest of the game.
So for G2, question mark starting to come forward again.
Oh,
like
100%,
after
yeah.
VDS and now GIANTX kind of putting the hurt onto you. Like, this isn't as clean cut as G2 would traditionally play it, and like setting up for their fights, having all their waves in order. Actually, sorry, I shouldn't say it. Their waves have been fine, but definitely their approach to how they fight hasn't been as clean as it usually is. And GIANTX have been punishing well, like Jun getting into that position over the wall, finding the flash, and now catching more.
Oh, Lot with the flash forward, double stun. Hansama coming across the wall as well, as Lot is quite deep here. Labrov gets the knockback, Glacial Prison going short. Labrov still knocked up, pops the Unbreakable Will, but there's the bullet time from Noah. As they manage to kill the cow, they chunk out the rest of G2. Baron's up in a minute's time. GIANTX have a wave pushing through top side here as well. The two-shot barrage will stop Lot's base as teleport back up in about a quarter of its cooldown. SkewMond unable to get into his own jungle as the red has been begun by GIANTX.
So GIANTX at least will get the kill onto Labrov, but unfortunately not really able to get any of the towers. The wave was cleared out by G2 as they were on the retreat, so nothing to try and play for the tier 2. And you also lost the wave on bot, so it is nice for GIANTX, but these are kind of the moments where you're hoping you'd be able to, you know, really solidify that lead through an objective, but at least you're still, you know, getting flashes out of Labrov, clearing out some of these key summoner spells, just to make things a little bit more difficult for G2 in an upcoming Baron fight or Dragon fight in 2 minutes' time.
I mean, that's the thing, right? I think it's a setup for the next fight. You're getting those cooldowns out. Jun's flash will be up before Labrov's flash is up. Caps is having a real struggle bus of a day as well, as Broken Blade will be able to take this top tower. Fate Sealed comes out, Labrov chasing forward here, but GIANTX are on the collapse and Broken Blade is in too deep. And there's not much he can do as GIANTX collapse on him. They'll kill off the rock, and now Hansama has to arcane shift away from Lot, who is on an absolute tear.
But that's 2 members of G2 that are gone, so Baron could 100% be on the cards here. SkewMond Can he make some sort of hero save? But looks like G2 aren't even sure if they want to go for that.
GIANTX have really come here and woken up and ready to fight. I have to remember, in front of their home crowd in Madrid, Jackie's jumps forward, True Shot Barrage has been used, we'll give it a little bit of vision, Glacial Piston down as well. There's the bullet time, and SkewMond doesn't get to play the game. Jun with a good pop blossom onto Caps, and here comes the rest of the chase. GIANTX keep G2 away, cull Caps, take the Baron, and now can back away and set up for the next trade.
Man, the home team advantage is coming in clutch here for GIANTX. These guys are absolutely popping off, finishing off Caps on the back end of that as well. And now you've got Dragon in 30 seconds, putting GIANTX onto Soul Point, plus the Baron. It's insane. And you'll see as it starts off here, like, everyone on G2 wants to go for this, but Caps is your only real damage dealer here. He doesn't really get to deal the damage because he's chasing it the entire time. And at that stage, Jackie's with Soul Unbound able to come back through. You finish off Broken Blade, and it's GIANTX then. Also off after a nice pick from Lot on getting most of Hans Salmon's Summoner or Health Bar, they can move over towards Baron.
Now a 5,000 gold lead for GIANTX. They've made 2,000 gold off this Baron power play as well. Jackie should be able to take the tier 2 here in the bot side, and that TP is going to be a little deep from Broken Blade. Does have the unstoppable force, but doesn't have as much of a health bar as he would like to. And the issue as well with Malphite's engage is it's very telegraphed. Like, Noah has flash, Jackie's has flash, Isma has flash, Jun has flash. The only person you can jump on is Lot. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't think you really want to jump on the Jax when he has that Counter-Strike up.
And the Seeker's Arm Guard as well. So he doesn't have to flash away, he just goes invulnerable in space, and then you're like, oh. Damn.
What a shame. What a shame. G2 having a real struggle over the last 2 weeks, and GIANTX just having a storm of a game. Let's be honest, it's been exceptional so far. Still have to see them close it out, and remember it is a best of 3. Fearless draft will be in effect, so we'll see how much GIANTX can do in the next couple of games. Whether it is a one-trick wonder here for GX as Isma steps forward, getting himself some Heartsteel stacks. For once, we see a jungler with Heartsteel that has over 30 stacks. It's about 200 right now on the Sejuani.
It turns out if you just keep fighting, you get a couple more stacks. Who would have thunk it?
Yeah, no.
But I do like the positioning from Isma as well. He is very aware how tanky he is, especially with the locket as well. I know it isn't as many stats, but that team-wide shield is going to be super nice.
Yeah, but I've realized something. There is a very easy way when Jun pretends to be Isma to work out which one's the real one. Only one of them spams emotes. It's like, there's 2 Sejuanis, guys. One of them's telling me to take notes. I wonder which one's the real one.
See, we were talking about Jun's mind games in the beginning. We just didn't realize he had to do it for his own team as well. He should have equipped the take notes and caught everyone out, you know?
That would have been truly
to be
top
fair,
tier.
though, I don't think it matters. I think if you see either Sejuani, you're like, I don't want to be anywhere near that thing at this stage.
Very true. Very true. One of them slightly squishier than the other one, even if the health bar looks a little bit bigger. As Labrov here trying to defend his top tier 2. Lot goes in, Counter-Strike used. Lot, that was so greedy. Pops the stopwatch. Base still coming out from Jackie's as well, but I don't think Lot survived for too much longer. Never mind. He jumps in, gets the Thunder Sky, goes into the first to bullet time. Lot, that was absolutely gorgeous. He survived for an absolute age. Does die in the end, but at what cost for G2?
I don't know if it was gorgeous, but if you squint, you can make out the picture. And I think for Lot, that's all he needed to do in that situation. Coming out with the kills, GIANTX. Can they just end right here? I think they can.
Labrov's up in 8 seconds. Hans Summer's 20 away, as is Caps. The inhibitor tower and the inhibitor have gone down. GIANTX with an 8,000 gold lead now. Knocking on the Nexus. Labrov's looking for that long flank round. The second Nexus tower, the target for GIANTX. But the minion wave not actually in range. Labrov gets a double knock-up, stopping the channel through those Hex Gates. Caps on his way in. Dashing forward with the weirding. Isma the first target. Isma the only target as G2 will fell the board. The chase continues as Caps is dashing forward. Doesn't have a blast cone to take to go any further. Jackie's jumps back in with a base seal, takes down one, he's looking to make it 2, he'll find 2! And he channels his way out, where is this guy?
It's daylight robbery from GIANTX. Jackie's, that was sick. 9-1-7. This guy is popping off, and here we'll get to see the play that. Look, it was an attempt. At this stage, I don't know if it was
He's
intentional.
a master at it, Rob.
In a Seeker's arm guard, setting up for Jackies, and then these Sundered Sky procs are absurd. The fact he keeps healing, the flash away, being able to keep himself going for so long, and eventually he will fall. But it's GIANTX that are just picking up the pieces after him.
It's just perfection. Zonya's hourglass with just a long enough cooldown to get your counter-strike back up, which means those auto attacks aren't hurting anymore. You get your Sundered Sky procs. Lot had it all calculated in Madrid. Noah now taking the mid-tier 2. GIANTX 7 towers to 2 up. Still 7,000 gold in the lead as SkewMond pops the Crescent Guard, but Ghost pops himself. A little bit too greedy, trying to hold onto that tower on stop. Unbreakable will used by Labrov just to survive through the bullet time. I'm sure Neo would have wanted one of those, but instead he had to dodge the bullets. Broken Blade on the front line. He is not a tanky mountain. Meanwhile, Caps goes down as well. GIANTX, it is a demolition. It's 21 kills to 6. It's a 10,000 gold lead. Like, the only person with more than a couple of kills on G2 is Hans Summer, and he really hasn't had a chance to influence this game.
Yeah, I think when you're an AD carry in this position, there's very little that you can do. GIANTX demolishing G2. That was not the sentence I expected to say coming into today.
No, nor did I. Absolutely incredible from GIANTX in front of their home crowd as well. A large contingent of GIANTX fans making the trip to Madrid, or being in Madrid already, to support this team. And that was a very different GIANTX to what we expected.